The picture is Jesus going to the cross. He was in the judgment hall with Pontius Pilate. Having done no wrong, he was about to be sent to his death. Now in Matthew chapter 27, it talks about how they would release a prisoner at the time of the Passover. Yet something very interesting happened. Verse 20, it says that the chief priests and the elders persuaded the people that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. And Pontius Pilate said to the people, which of the two would you have me to release? And they said, Barabbas. And Pilate said to them, what should I do with Jesus, which is called the Christ? And they all said to him, let him be crucified. And the governor said, why? What evil has he done? But they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. Now Barabbas was a local hero. The Bible says he was a brigand. In other words, he was kind of a reckless lawbreaker, kind of like a Robin Hood. We have our brigands today, like Clint Eastwood with his .44 Magnum going around breaking the law. He was a favorite of the people. So of course, Jesus convicted them. Barabbas didn't. He was their hero. So they wanted Barabbas. Now where Barabbas was in jail, if you look on a map, was about 1,000 feet away from the judgment hall. Barabbas couldn't hear Pontius Pilate speak from 1,000 feet away, but he could hear the crowd speak. Picture him in his cell, listening to a hostile crowd that he could recognize very well since he was a hostile man. He couldn't hear Pontius Pilate say, who would you have me to release to you? But he could hear the people scream out, Barabbas, and his heart began to beat real fast. He didn't hear Pontius Pilate say, what would you have me to do with this Jesus, which is called the Christ? But he did hear everybody say, let him be crucified. Scripture says, and the governor said, what evil has he done? And they cried out the more, let him be crucified. All Barabbas heard was Barabbas, let him be crucified, let him be crucified. And he sat there, waiting for his death. He was guilty of insurrection and murder, and he knew he had it coming. And when the Roman jailer came to let him loose, with every footstep that came down the hall of that cell, as he could hear the sandals beat on the ground and the clang of the armor on the side of the soldier and the key going into the lock, he felt death come closer and closer and closer. And when the jailer opened the door, Barabbas must have looked up at him and said, okay, I know I've been wrong. I know I should have listened to a lot of things people said to me and probably should have followed after Jehovah God. But I know I'm guilty and I'm ready to die. And the jailer said, you ain't gonna die. He said, what do you mean? He said, I remember that Jesus, the guy that healed the sick and raised the dead folk. Remember the thing with Jairus' daughter and remember the demons that he cast out? Barabbas says, yeah. He says, he just took your place. The mercy of God was expressed to a guilty man, probably more so than anywhere else. Sometimes people think they've gone too far away from God to ever come back in. David said it best, Psalm 25. He said, remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions. According to thy mercy, remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord, because his mercy endures forever.